Okay, welcome. We're back. We've been presented with no choice but to do Achi. We're in a corner. Because, as you remember from last time, possibly, Tama is currently kept out. Osawa is to be continued. Minorikawa is to be continued. And Kano is at a bad end. So, I believe we must get to Achi. Kenji Osawa and the cat. Alright, let's see what we got going on then. That's the Tanaka call. Right. Tomi's voice was barely a squeak. A cat? Or not? Oh, does this unlock Tama? Oh, it does, maybe. Nope, it doesn't. Nope. Because of the whole, it's time I skin the cat. That won't work. So, I guess we're going to have to do Achi. But, I think we've prevented Achi's death by having Tanaka do the call. The cat Achi suggested. This is the... I'm not sure if it were him. I think he'd probably say something. Two of them slipped behind a large piece of plywood stage dressing. The door swung open with a loud creak. In stepped a cat. Oh, it's just a kitty cat. A giant kitty cat. Walking upright. Achi and Itomi stared in confusion as someone in a cat costume slipped into the room. There was something vaguely sinister about the fuzzy figure. The cat had both hands stuffed into its pockets and shuffled as it walked, dragging one leg. I think that's someone with the theater troupe, Achi whispered. What is going on here? Why is Tama here? Is that Tama? Maybe. The two huddled in the shadows, pressed almost cheek to cheek. They watched as the cat rifled around inside one of its pockets and then pulled something out. It was a bundle of keys. No doubt the ones it had used to get inside. Achi's eyes fixed on the furry mitt that held them. It was stained dark red. That could be only one thing. Blood. Actually, it could be several things that doesn't have anything to do with blood, but okay. In that moment, Achi finally realized just what was going on. That's no theater guy. It was the assassin. He'd used the cat suit to slip past the theater people and had somehow gotten his hands on the storeroom keys. Now he tossed the keys away, then delicately adjusted the costume's wobbly head. He told me we gotta run. Huh? He told me he seemed frozen, mesmerized. What the heck? The cat turned directly toward them. The fur around its mouth was stained crimson. He told me to let out a high-pitched cry of shock. The cat drew its other hand out of its pocket. Clutched in its mitt was a gun. Achi and Itomi had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Bad end? Cat suits are going to be the key to unraveling this Yeah, what's up with the cat? Disguised in the cat costume, the killer managed to corner Achi and Itomi. Where'd he get that costume? As it happens, it's Tama's fault. She tossed the suit away after taking it off, allowing the assassin to find it and use it to deceive the theater troupe and gain access to the storeroom. Little could she have known. Oh, so we have to have Tama not take the suit off? The man, what to do with the cat suit? Okay. It's not worth the struggle. Guess this cat's staying in the bag. I'll head to the knick-knack shop as is. Okay. Guess this cat's staying in the bag. I figure I'll head to the knick-knack shop as is. Tama must become one. She must become a cat. Yes. A popular folk etymology asserts that the expression "let the cat out of the bag" comes from the unscrupulous practice of certain farmers who would sell a pig at market only to deceive the buyer by surreptitiously swapping out the purchased porker for a cat. The likelihood of anyone mistaking a cat, even one inside a bag, for a pig is, however, extremely low, let alone the likelihood that enough people would fall for such a scheme to warrant a phrase referring to it entering the language. Well, good. Okay, I never knew that. Skinning a cat, eh? Okay, now we're kept out again, officially. We're officially kept out. But Achi is no longer imperiled, I guess. This guy's okay, so that's him talking about Suzune. Yep. And Susumu and all that and all the, yeah. Heart transplant. Heart transplant says that the timing is tricky. Yeah, we got to go through the whole scene again. So yeah, basically, she's got the Bombay blood that has like the super rare blood type that only a few people in the world have, and she's like one of the few people in Shibuya or in Japan who has it. So yeah, this is a rough situation for Suzune. And, yeah, one of the rarest blood types in the world, right? She must really feel bad. If you did manage to find a heart for your sister, what would you do? Yeah, having to cross someone who was a donor, man. Hypothetically speaking, if you found somebody. Yeah. I can't remember what happened here at this point. Okay, barely squeak, all was silent. Or not. They're trying to break the lock. Let's see, I'm not sure. If it were him, I think he'd probably say something. Is it? It's the, well, who is it? The door swung open with a loud creak. Oh! In stepped the man with the cane. What the heck? Achi whispered. What's he doing here? Gun drawn, the assassin prowled slowly around the storeroom. Achi and Hitomi crouched behind the plywood prop, trying not to make a sound. Of course, last time it was Al-Karawan, and now it's the man with the cane. The man moved out of their line of sight. Achi gazed longingly at the door. Achi risked a peek around the corner of the plywood. He still couldn't see the man with the cane. The door was maybe 5 meters away. What should they do? Wait. Let's wait. No, they needed to wait for a safer chance to escape. Achi heard the sound of a cell phone vibrating from behind a tall piece of plywood leaning by the door. The assassin stepped out from behind it. He still hadn't spotted his quarry. I'm sure this is the place. His voice was low and confident. Uh-oh. Did he have friends? Still clutching his phone, the assassin wandered deeper into the storeroom. Achi and Hitomi took the opportunity to slip out the door. They ran through the alleyways back toward the main road. Before they reached it, however, they suddenly found their path cut off by one of the foreigners who'd chased them earlier, the accomplice of the man with the pipe. He stood waiting for them, holding a knife in one hand. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. If they turned back, Achi knew the man with the cane might catch up with them. He had a gun. Achi slipped off his sleeveless jacket and wrapped it around his left arm. He was going to have to use his left arm to guard against the knife while punching with his right hand. He clenched his fist and braced himself, and then suddenly, he froze. Huh? A small, dark silhouette dropped from somewhere up above. Landing deftly, the newcomer lunged toward the man with the knife, closing the gap between them in the blink of an eye. Ugh! The figure delivered a swift chop to the back of the man's neck. Oh, okay. I remember this. He dropped to the pavement like a dead man, finally giving an Achi. Wait, just one Achi? Not all the Achis, just one. A clear view of the shadow behind him. Sick. Achi couldn't believe his eyes. It was a small-statured young woman with Middle Eastern features. Oh, he told me to let out a little gasp. Kanan? Aha! Okay. Kind of already spoiled it a little bit because I mentioned that there's a semi-sequel to this called Kanan. It's an anime, though. But, yeah, okay. So we just met Kanan. There you go. Alright, literally everyone is to be continued except for Kana, who's bad-ended. And Tama. Alright, do we jump here now at the cat after we fixed things, or what? I am not sure. Let's see. Must barely escape from all was silent. Maybe it's just a cat. Let's see. Does this break the keep out? Oh, let's see. Yes! Okay, nice. The sales demo is over, and against all odds, I managed to get paid. Money clutched in one paw, I head to the knick-knack shop to finally buy that necklace I can't stop thinking about. Hello? Anyone here? I call out. There's no reply. Is the shopkeeper out? Just a moment. Panting, the sales clerk comes scurrying into the shop behind me. Sorry about that. Just had to pop out for a sec. Whew. You would not believe what I just saw. He leans against a pillar, gasping audibly as he tries to catch his breath. Ah, you're here about the necklace. Do you still have it? Of course. Thank you so much. I have half the money here, and the rest is in my... Oh. I suddenly remember something very important. Oh no. The sales clerk gives me a curious look. What's the matter? My wallet. It's still in here. I pat the costume around the tummy. So why don't you just take the outfit off? Well, I mean, the zipper is kind of broken. I wouldn't be having all this trouble if I could just get out of this darn costume. Kind of broken? Look how messed up it is. It's way more broken than that. The sales clerk points me to a full-body mirror. He's right. The zipper in back is hanging open. Taking this thing off will be a cinch now. Oh, thank you! I give him a bow. I'm not sure you need to be thanking me, he says. No, I do. If you hadn't pointed that out, I might have let myself stay stuck in here forever. So really, thank you so much. I bow again and again. Oh, are we gonna? Oh, the big reveal. It's a FMV even. And it's... to be continued. That's what it is. All right. Hey, look. The name changed. It's not Tama anymore. Who's that? Yep. You heard it here, folks. Tama is actually an amnesiac Maria Osawa. Yep. So there we go. We have now corrected her actual name, and moving forward, we'll be going off of that. Alright. We gotta get Kano fixed, though. How do we get Kano out of this situation? Show hints. Yes. Someone can do something at 1340. Alright. 1340, huh? Is it here? No? Not that. Is it Minorikawa? Oh, do we... Oh, we don't... Are we willing to... Time to wrap this up. Oh, we have to... Oh, we have to deny Yanagishita his beautiful soliloquy. That's too bad. That's really too bad. Alright. I guess this is what we have to do. No, nothing really came to mind. It was about time to wrap this up. Thank you for your time, Mr. Yanagishita. If you'll excuse me, though, I have to get to another interview. Oh no, of course. Allow me to walk you out. Yanagishita rose to his feet as Minorikawa got up to leave. Oh, but that won't be necessary. It's no trouble. I'm heading out now myself. Gotta run before these guys show up. What guys do you mean? Oh, nobody. Just a personal thing is all. They parted ways outside the building, and Minorikawa headed off to the cafe to put his article together. He's got little chicken dolls. I wish I had one of those. Those are cool. Oh, perfect timing. Minorikawa stopped as short as the familiar voice called out to him. It was the man he'd spoken to earlier that afternoon about the surveillance cameras. Hey, come here for a sec. The man waved him over. Oh, what is it? I'm real busy right now. I've got a scoop for you. Saw it with my own eyes. Really? Minorikawa raised an eyebrow. Give me the details. Someone looked like it. Wait, did we already see this? A foreigner in handcuffs. Had there been some kind of international sting or something? Just over there, behind... Yeah, we've seen this. Furrowed his brow. Suspect arguing with a cop outside a police station wasn't all that weird. I had a feeling he was missing something here. Well, the big thing is what happened afterward, the man said. Afterward? The man leaned in conspiratorially. The detective undid the guy's handcuffs and let him run off. Whoa, what? I'm telling you, man, it had to have been like a bribe or something. A bribe? That seemed unlikely. I swear that's what it had to be. There was some wheel greasing going on. You're not making this all up, are you? Minorikawa asked. He regarded the man coldly, but the guy still seemed quite legitimately worked up. It's all true. Please, you have to report this to the police right away. Why do I have to? Minorikawa asked. If you have a tip for the police, go give it to him yourself. He didn't quite manage to stop himself saying that out loud. No, I can't. I'm no good when it comes to police. Besides, they're never going to believe someone like me. Okay, so maybe he had a point there. But you're some world-class reporter, right? The cops will totally take your word over that of a random nobody. Minorikawa didn't have time to debate the point. It was easier just to make the call. He phoned up the police to leave the tip. The man bowed repeatedly, looking pretty grateful. Let's see, getting busy on the scary thugs. Okay, that... Oh, okay, it did free up Kano. For him to report that in. Because I think that's just the same scene. So he's still to be continued. Okay, Kano is safe. At long last, the traffic began to move again. Stanley had to slam on the brakes. Oh no! A frantic... But you, one reporter who, too, works for a gossip magazine, will surely be believed. Yes. What, yeah, sir, what are you working for right now? You're a freelancer? Oh, a gossip magazine? Oh, okay. A frantic-looking man had jumped out in front of the car. Whoa! Hey, what the hell are you doing? Kano sputtered. The stranger plastered his face against the passenger side window. Open up! He shouted. Open the door! The guy showed every sign of total panic. Junichi Yanagishita, something happened just after he parted ways with Minorikawa, and now he's running this way and in quite a panic at that. Don't do it, Stanley warned. Kano hesitated. It wasn't like they could just drive off with this fellow clinging to the car. Please! You gotta help me! The man slipped his fingers in through the gap in the window, trying to force it further open. Help me! Whoa, hold on. What's your deal? Help me! Sir, just tell me what... Help me! Look, up ahead, Stanley exclaimed suddenly. Kano whipped his head around. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano tried to jump out of the car, but the frantic stranger had gotten his upper body wedged in the window and the door wouldn't open. Stanley, his usual steely expression replaced with a look of shock, exited on the driver's side and went after Al-Karawan himself. Kano shouted at the man in the window. Stanley, wait, get out of the way. All right, get in. Get in! If the guy was that desperate to get inside, Kano wasn't about to stop him. I want to see what happens. Besides, he needed to get this guy calm to calm down and let go of his arm. Ow! The man yelled, let go! Let go! He was the one holding on. Why was he demanding to be let go? What the hell is going on? Just as Kano's thought was forming, the crazed stranger was yanked back out of the car, dragging Kano with him. Yanagishita and Minorikawa are absolutely killing it with the facial expression. They are! Those guys are the champions of amazing facial expressions. A pair of rough-looking men had grabbed him by his lower body. It's the Yakuza! No! No! He screamed. I can't do 80 days hard labor! Somehow he was still managing to cling to the car door. Just give it up and let go already, snarled one of the assailants. The pair shifted their grip and pulled even harder. Kano heard the sound of tearing fabric as the two toughs tumbled backwards. Just like that. The crazed stranger was stripped down to his boxers. He let out a pathetic wail. Oh, man! The two toughs burst into uproarious laughter at the sight. Now's our chance, one of them managed to sputter. The pantsless man snatched up his ruined garment and bolted like a startled hare. Like a startled hare. To dart off incredibly quickly in the manner of a fleeing rabbit. Yanagishita runs a lot more like a rat than a rabbit, though. Ouch! Still cackling madly, his two pursuers rushed after him. Kano was still staring dumbstruck at the spectacle when Stanley returned to the car. No luck. I lost track of him. This doesn't make sense, Kano said, forcing himself to refocus on the case. Al-Karawan was taken back to the precinct. What's he doing walking free? Stanley gave him a dubious look. Have you seriously not figured it out? He asked. Or is this some kind of strange Japanese joke I'm not getting? What are you talking about? Kano replied. Do you know something I don't? Evidently I do. Your Detective Totno let him go on purpose. That's the only explanation. Enraged at the suggestion, Kano took a swing at him, but Stanley coolly caught his fist. It's not me you should be punching, the American warned. It's Totno. Abashed, Kano radioed up Kuze on the wireless. Sir, did Detective Totno bring Tariq Al-Karawan into the precinct? It would appear that, Detective Totno has gone rogue, Kuze replied with chagrin. He what? Surely Kano had misheard. We've received an eyewitness account. Someone saw him allowing the suspect to go free. No, it can't be. We currently do not know Detective Totno's whereabouts, or just what the hell is going on with him. After Kano ended the call, Stanley let out a little old chuckle. I see. Looks like you had a traitor in your midst. Kano grabbed him by the collar. Stanley snorted. What are you trying to pull here? Tell me what you know, Kano snapped. All I did is state the facts. Look, I watched that man risk his life to talk down a would-be arsonist. He's a dyed-in-the-wool detective. He'd never betray anybody. I see, Stanley murmured. Then he's the real deal. Kano stared in surprise. He'd expected an argument. Good, he said. I'm glad we're on the same page. Totno risked his life in order to get people to trust him. He's a dyed-in-the-wool spy, is what he is. Oh, Totno risked his life in order to get people. He's a dyed-in-the-wool spy, is what he is. Oh, okay. Stanley's saying that, not Totno. Kano didn't have the words. His clenched fist trembling once more. He fumbled for his cell phone again. Kano's having an awful day. It's awful. He dialed Totno's number. The phone rang 5 times, but failed to connect. There has to be a reason for this, Kano muttered. No, must know something we don't. Really, no, Stanley scoffed. And what makes you so sure of that? Because Detective Totno was sure this kidnapping wasn't about the ransom. Ah. Kano's mind drifted back to 9 o'clock that morning. Ahead of their stakeout at the Scramble, he was walking with Totno through the halls of the Shibuya precinct. We're gonna do a bang-up job out there, Detective Totno, he chirped. He was maybe a bit too excited about getting to take part in such a major case. Totno patted Kano on the back. You need to take a step back. You're not letting yourself see the forest for the trees. What do you mean, sir? What I mean is that this is no ordinary kidnapping. Totno's words triggered a little revelation. You're talking about the location for the ransom handoff, aren't you? Kano said. It doesn't make sense for the criminals to pick such a major intersection. Warmer, Totno replied. Kano frowned inwardly. He'd been so sure that was the answer. Have you thought about why they asked to have the sister make the handoff? Kano thought some more before answering. Because women are easier to deal with, he suggested. Colder. If that was the case, why not pick the mother? No. What worries me is the fact that the Osamu girls are twins. They're having us send someone to the handoff who looks identical to the girl they kidnapped. What's going to happen when we do that? What is going to happen, sir? Kano asked. I'm not sure yet, but I have a feeling the kidnapper's plan hinges on it. What are those? The two exited through the precinct's main entrance. That ain't no blue badger, I'll tell you that. Up ahead, rows of buildings stood tall against a backdrop of bright blue sky. Totno let out a quiet sigh. To think that so many terrible things are happening out there on such a beautiful day. Solve one case and another's waiting, he went on, as always. What is it about people that drives them to do such horrible things? A girl abducted out of pure greed? When I think of how her parents must feel, I almost can't bear it. They made their way toward the Scramble. Totno continued talking in a quiet voice. My father was a raging alcoholic. My father was a raging alcoholic and a fiend. Is Totno the Joker? Oh no. Okay. The house was always a complete mess. He was loud, violent, never had any money, always reeked of booze. Mother, she would cry and cry. I was afraid to come home. Every day I stayed out playing as late as I could possibly manage. Kano could hear the pain in Totno's voice. That life took too much of a toll on my mother. She died when I was still in grade school. And my father, he just got worse. I was there with him at the end after he'd wasted away to almost nothing. Not the sort of childhood I'd ever wish on anybody. Sounds like you really went through a lot. Kano hated himself for uttering such an empty platitude, but he had no idea what else to say. Kano, as old as I am, I still don't really know what it is to be happy. I think that's probably because I've never known what it's like to have a happy family. Totno sounded so forlorn. The only happiness I know how to protect is other people's happiness. Kano heard those words. In those words, the soul of a true detective. True Detective on HBO. I just hope you're ready. Kano did his best to keep his voice as calm and level as he could, lifting up his clenched fist. Because if I find proof that Totno is innocent, I'm planting this right into your jaw. Stanley just cracked a wry smile. The traffic had finally diminished, and they rapidly drew close to their destination. The syndicate's hideout was in Tomigaya, to the southwest of Yoyogi Park. Oh, we're back at the Black Lodge, but, like, 45 minutes later, the ratty building looked like it might come crashing down any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous, like it was a reference to an early 90s American television show. Kano knew the place is a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. "I'll take point," Stanley said. "You back me up." He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. I'm not going to reread that because that's what we did before. Yeah, we're good. This is the same scene up to this point. Connor drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. At the end of the hallway was a wooden door. Stanley signaled with his eyes. Kano gave a tiny nod, and Stanley kicked the door in. The stench of blood hit them as soon as they stepped inside. Kano let out a startled gasp. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He recognized them all. They were men who'd participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Stanley took a closer look. The blood's not fully dried. These guys weren't killed that long ago. Kano quickly scanned the bar high and low, but there was no sign of the killer in hiding. There was no trace of Maria either. One of the fallen men let out a faint, strained groan. "Hey!" Kano called out. "Stay with us!" He hunched down beside the wounded man. "Ugh." A brief gurgle rose from the man's throat. He was clearly struggling to say something, but his voice was too garbled, too indistinct for Kano to make out any coherent words. Kane. What was that? But there was no more. The dying man went limp and still. To be continued. And we're gonna get our cutscene for the next hour. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. I've got a really bad preposition about this. Never take anything at face value. Just who you calling Flim Flam? Do you know me? You've hoarded so many things to yourself. All right, 1,400 hours to 1,500 hours. Next on Shibuya Scramble. And we got a little update for Tama, right? It's Maria. There we go. Yep. So, Tama, we've officially figured out, is Maria Osawa, so we will be going with, let's see, who should we go with? We have a whole new hour to play with now. We got Kano, Minorikawa, Osawa, Maria, and Achi. Let's, Minorikawa is kind of like our go-to, so let's Minorikawa it up. No! Minorikawa's cry of despair echoed throughout the cafe. Yep. Rip Tama. You were a real one. You came and you gave without taking. As you might remember, his anguished declaration was due to his laptop dying. His laptop monitor stared back at him, black and empty. "Don't you die on me, buddy!" He jabbed his finger sharply at the screen. The computer gave no response, looking well and truly dead. "What the hell?" Norikawa pounded his fist on the table. This would be a worst-case scenario even if he weren't desperately pressed for time. Guess we'll just have to write by hand then. He rummaged around inside his bag and pulled out a notebook. "I can still do this," he shouted, doing his best to psych himself up for the task ahead. "I still will do this!" Excuse me. Sir? The waitress appeared timidly beside him. What? Minorikawa snapped, his pen still flying across the paper. Sir, if you could please quiet down. My damn computer just broke! I'm allowed a scream or two! Minorikawa was in no state of mind to be quiet. If it weren't for the deadline he was racing to meet, he'd probably have gone on screaming until he passed out. Your computer is broken, you say? The waitress peered at the monitor. Yeah, look! It just suddenly stopped displaying anything! Could it be that, the battery is just dead? Minorikawa sat bolt upright. That's it! The waitress flinched as Minorikawa's finger jabbed toward her face. I hadn't considered that possibility. Hey, let me plug in somewhere. There's an outlet right there, sir. She pointed at an outlet by Minorikawa's feet, making no attempt to hide her exasperation. Minorikawa plugged in the power cable and the monitor sprang to life as normal. So, now that that's sorted, would you please be quiet, sir? Don't talk to me. You're interfering with my writing. Minorikawa's fingers had already begun dancing across his keyboard. With a sigh, the waitress disappeared back into the kitchen. Oh yeah! Now we're talking! His fingers picked up speed as he went about touch typing. Touch typing. The act of typing on a keyboard without looking at the keys. The aspiration of computer novices everywhere. The typical method involves placing the index fingers on the F and J keys with the middle ring and pinky fingers resting on the A, S, and D or K, L, and semicolon keys to either side, from which all other keys are easily reached. With practice, a touch typist can instinctively hit the correct key every time without looking. Mavis Beacon. Actually, I didn't have Mavis Beacon as a kid, but I can touch type, yes. The pros and cons of surveillance cameras. Proprietor of outdated electronics shop oversees high-tech camera system. Ouch! Bedlam at bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Bankrupted organizer remains undiscouraged. Now Minorikawa's spirits were riding high. His writing rolled along at a brisk pace. Sir? It was the waitress again, her voice yanking Minorikawa right out of his soaring mood. Sir! Now what? Has the President of the United States agreed to give me a one-on-one interview? The waitress's eyes went wide with confusion. Mr. Minorikawa, I'd love to interview with you. It was my George W. Bush impression. Huh? Because unless it's something that important, do not speak to me right now. But she was undeterred. Sir, please, if you could just be a little quieter. Minorikawa's fingers ceased their rattling across the keys. Just what sound do you have a problem with? All I've been doing is writing a copy. Well, for the last while, actually, you've been talking while you write, sir. I love that face. I love it. Talking. Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Oh, yes, sir, you've been talking about an electronics store and some bogus weight loss drink. I assume that's what you're writing about? You're saying I've been narrating my copy aloud while writing it? That's right, sir. Other customers sitting nearby were openly snickering. Well, so what? He snapped. Okay. There's Rumi and her father. We still can't see Rumi's face. He was red in the face now. You should all be delighted that you get to hear what I'm writing before the magazine goes to print. Well, actually, sir, one of our customers has been complaining. Complaining? Of all the nerve! Who was it? Where are they? Minorikawa scanned the other patrons, many of whom were unsuccessfully trying to hide their laughter. It was me. Oh no, it was the grumpy older fellow who'd been making a scene earlier. Bogus diet fads, peeping security cameras. Reminds me of that sleazy tabloid 4-star general gossip I hate so much. Oh-ho! You sure seem to know a lot about it for something you hate so much. The man's face twisted up with scorn. Your behavior is bothering everyone in here, he said. Do not understand that? No, I don't! Guess a reporter who writes nothing but nonsense prefers nonsense in everything he does. Minorikawa could feel his blood boiling. What was that? Go on, say that again. Oh, gladly. Nonsense. Filth. Codswallop. Flim-flam! You bastard! How dare you! Minorikawa stormed over to the man's table. Flim-flam, indeed! Flim-flam. Bogus or insincere content. Few things anger Minorikawa more than reporters using dishonest means to create a story. Having his own work called Flim-flam would naturally make him blow his top. Just who are you calling Flim-flam? The other man stood up and glowered in Minorikawa's face. You utterly lack any manners or sense of decency for starters. I have plenty of manners and decency. I also happen to have a deadline. As if a flim-flam artist like you has a work ethic. Stop calling me flim-flam! The waitress inserted herself between the two men. Gentlemen, please, stop fighting. I demand that you remove this man at once, the older fellow barked. He's the one you should be kicking out, Minorikawa shot back. By now, he was ready to go for this guy's throat. Please, the waitress pleaded, both of you return to your seats. She grabbed onto Minorikawa and began to forcibly drag him back to his table. I feel like if we get into a fight, he's gonna leave again and Kano's gonna get into a problem. So probably B is the best. Because, okay, A is Minorikawa throws a punch. He calms down in B. Okay. Just calm down. Minorikawa did his best to swallow his pride. Whatever, he huffed. I don't have time for this anyway. He stalked back to his seat. The other man snorted and sat down with a scowl. The needless interruption, just when he'd finally gotten into writing mode, had all but killed Minorikawa's motivation. He decided he needed to take a breather. He turned to the waitress. 1 spaghetti Napolitan, please. Spaghetti flavored with tomato ketchup. Napolitan is a corruption of Neapolitan, though the dish itself has no connection to the Italian city of Napoli. Rather, it originated as a menu item at a hotel in Yokohama shortly after World War II. There is also a spaghetti dish from Nagoya called Milanese, which likewise has no connection to the Italian city of Milan. He might not have a lot of spare time, but working on an empty stomach wouldn't do him any favors. While waiting for his order to come out, he decided to read back over the copy he'd written so far. When he looked back at the monitor, the screen was black yet again. Looking down at his feet, he saw that the power cable was now unplugged. Hey, what kind of cafe are you people running here? He shouted. The waitress hurried over, looking combative. Sir, you yanked that out yourself when you stood up earlier. What? A likely story. It's the truth, sir. Minorikawa pointed at one of the customers sitting next to him. Is she telling the truth? Did I really yank my power cord out myself? The man nodded sheepishly. Yeah, well, then that's the outlet's fault for being someplace where it unplugs so easily. Minorikawa squawked. Oh my gosh. The waitress marched away, head held high. Just make sure that spaghetti's delicious, Minorikawa shouted after her. Do that, and I'll consider us even. Oh, and loaded with cheese. Lots of cheese. He plugged the power cable back in, then let out a heavy sigh. In all his writing fervor, he hadn't thought to save his work. Always make sure to save your work to avoid losing data. Honestly, why is it that your computer only seems to freeze when you've forgotten to save your stuff? Seriously, many such cases. He was probably going to have to rewrite most of what he'd done. Excuse me. Minorikawa looked up to see a young woman standing there. It's Rumi! I'm so sorry, she said, about my father. She gave a tiny bow. Your father? Oh, the rude old man? He might want to expect that spaghetti with a black light? Yes, I agree. I agree. Highly agree. Big agree. Yes. Is this the aspiration to one day be referred to as, oh, the rude old man? He's just a little worked up right now. Please don't pay him any mind. So what, you waiting on your boyfriend? Huh? The woman was taken aback. I happened to hear you two arguing earlier. It would have been about 2 hours ago. Oh, I see. An awkward, embarrassed smile came to the woman's face. I thought he was going to ask my father for permission to marry me, so we've been waiting for him, but... But he hasn't shown up? No. He must be really busy. She cast her eyes down sadly. Minoru took a better look at her. She was gorgeous. A woman with her looks wasn't something he saw every day, that was for sure. Say, would you mind talking with me for a bit? He asked. Me? Yeah, I kind of need to turn my mood around here. Well, okay, at least until my father gets back. The woman cast an anxious look toward the restrooms. What's your name? Rumi. She sat down across from him. Wait a second, aren't you? Minoru appeared at Rumi's face. Finally, I was wondering when we were going to get to this. One of those twins that was chosen as Miss Midoriyama? Oh no, I thought he was going to say the actress. Rumi shook her head. No, not me. No? Darn, didn't think I'd be that lucky. He took a sip of his now cold coffee. I do know the girls you're talking about, though, Rumi said. Minoru spat out his coffee in surprise. Look at this. Look at this scene. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's perfection. It's perfection. It is perfection. I love this game so much. It's great. Rumi squeaked in alarm as the spray splattered her face. But Minoru leaned in unconcerned. Absolute center. Yes, this game is. No! We still can't see her face! You mean it? You really know them? Yes, Rumi replied. You're talking about the Osawa twins, right? Oh. Oh. She got out a handkerchief and wiped the coffee from her face as she spoke. Osawa, huh? Minoru glanced down at the project proposal on the table. Sexy squared, twins share top prize at local university beauty contest. Midoriyama Academy, Maria and Hitomi Osawa. Yes, that's it. The Osawa twins! I actually won Miss Midoriyama myself a few years ago. This year you served as one of the judges. Minoru adopted a self-satisfied pose. Guess I really was born under the right sign to be a freelancer. The leads just come to me. Sure, Rumi muttered. Okay, let's talk basics then. Tell me what you know about these girls. Well, I don't really know them personally. Rumi continued to dab at the coffee on her face. But now that you ask, I do remember hearing that they'd entered the contest separately. Wait, separately? Now Minoru was a bit confused. Yes, that's right. I'd assumed they'd entered it as a pair, but apparently not. I wonder why. I mean, they're twins. Don't they look alike? Wear the same clothes? Do everything together? And say the same things at the same time and stuff? Rumi chuckled and shook her head. No, not at all. Besides, these two aren't identical. They're fraternal twins. Fraternal twins. Twins who were born at the same time from two eggs that were fertilized separately. Fraternal twins do not share the same genetic information. They can differ in such characteristics as sex and blood type, though there are cases of fraternal twins resembling one another almost as closely as identical twins. Maria and Hitomi Osawa happen to look very closely alike, but they do not have the same blood type. It's almost like they're played by the same actress. Although at a glance they do look very similar, still, how should I put this? They both give off a very different impression. Oh? Now that sounds interesting. Mind explaining what you mean? Minoru opened his memo pad. I talked to them briefly after the awards ceremony. The older sister struck me as very energetic, but the younger one was more quiet and reserved. Minoru investigative senses were tingling. I wouldn't figure a shy girl would want to enter a campus beauty contest. I suppose not, no. Yeah. I don't suppose you've got anything juicier, Minoru asked. Rumi frowned. Would you like to just go ask them yourself? She said. They don't live very far from here. Whoa, hold the phone! Minoru could hardly believe what had just fallen into his lap. The advance info on the project proposal had mentioned the girls were students at Midoriyama, but hadn't given an actual address. If he could talk to them directly, now that would be pay dirt. You know where they live? Well, not exactly. I just heard that they lived in Shoto. Aha! Shoto! That wasn't far away. A car or motorcycle could get there in about 10 minutes. It'd be quicker than going to Midoriyama Academy, and he'd be able to meet with the girls themselves. Minorikawa flashed a quick look toward the restroom. Looked like Rumi's father had just gotten back. Sorry, she said. I should be going. No problem, and thank you. Rumi gave him a quick nod, then hurried back to her seat. Minorikawa grabbed the directory from the public phone and flipped through the pages. To his surprise, there were only 5 listings for the name Osawa with addresses in Shoto. There was neither a Maria nor a Hitomi, but he hadn't expected there to be. He'd need to find their parents. Wasting no time, he called up the first Osawa on the list. Bingo! Minorikawa couldn't help but pump his fist in excitement. He'd gotten the right place on his first try. Way to go, me! He committed the house number listed in the phone book to memory. Just then the waitress reappeared with a disgruntled expression in Minorikawa's order of spaghetti Napolitan. Here you are, sir. Oh-ho! The pasta was piled high with an impressive mound of grated cheese. Oh, man. That's suspect. It looked almost like a miniature mountain of snow. You did say lots of cheese, sir, the waitress told him. She set down a canister of cheese and a bottle of Tabasco. Tabasco, a sauce made by the U.S.-based Michelini company, consisting of hot peppers, grain vinegar, and rock salt. Known for its distinctive spiciness, it can make spaghetti and pizza quite tasty with the addition of just a few drops. Tabasco also goes pretty well with ramen and curry. Recommended for times when flavor is lacking a little punch. However, even 1 drop may be too much for those who can't handle spicy things. It has been claimed that Tabasco was first imported to Japan by a certain well-known former pro wrestler, but this story is untrue. Hey, Saber, yeah, we got the Tabasco lore here, man. Oh, this looks good, Minorikawa exclaimed. He twirled some spaghetti up with his fork and shoved it into his mouth. The slightly sour sweetness of the ketchup blended perfectly with the mellow flavor of the cheese. Oh, that is tasty! There was nothing like satisfying grub to lift the spirits. He turned back to his laptop, still wolfing down the spaghetti. All right, we're back in action. Let's do this! Yet again, he unthinkingly blurted his words aloud as he slipped back into writing mode. I've got this! I've got this! With ketchup smeared around his mouth, he set his fingers tapping away at the keys. The waitress let out another groan of dismay. Huh? You say something? I love it! She went from a frown to a smile. Minorikawa glanced in her direction, but the waitress faked a smile. Ooh, dragging the spaghetti across his suit. Yuck. No, sir, I don't think so. Yeah? Well, then go away. You're distracting me. The moment he looked away, she clenched her fist in indignation. Oh, this woman was almost, kidnapped and made a hostess at a hostess club, but this is actually the worst part of her day. Nothing, sir. Good luck with your work, sir. I love it. I don't need luck. I've got this. I was jumping back and forth between pasta and computer. Minorikawa got to work on his copy once more. Before long, he was oblivious to every sound in the cafe around him. Amazing. When he finally snapped out of writing mode, he glanced at his watch. It was 2:20. Almost time for him to head to his next interview. Better get a move on. Kimizuka's taxi came by just as Minorikawa was hurrying out of the cafe. Well, what a pleasant surprise, Minorikawa called out. Oh, it's Kimizuka! Nice timing, my man! Kimizuka, startled, look quickly vanished behind an expression of professional resignation. Do you need a ride, sir? You know it, Minorikawa replied. First, head to Shoto. After that, I'll need to get to Sakura... Oh my gosh, I'm failing. I'll need to get to Sakura Gaoka. There we go. As he cast his gaze out at the sights of the city, Minorikawa mulled over his plan for the next part of the day. First, he'd interview the Miss Midoriyama girls, then he'd meet with the head of that theater troupe. In order to leave himself enough time to write his copy, that meant I'd like to get this all wrapped up in 20 minutes, he said. Can you make that happen? Kimazuka flashed a grin. That will incur a special fare, sir. Oh, special, Minoru Arakawa said as he got settled in his seat. I love that word. Kimazuka stepped on the gas. Yes! Shibuya was a town of contrasts. It was a town of young people, unpretentious, energetic. The Scramble intersection and Center Guy perfectly conveyed that vibrancy. However, if one turned right at the 109 building and headed down Bunkamuri Dori, the town's whole atmosphere changed. Hey, it's another Ayakamiki poster, the lady who did the main theme of this game. If I hadn't explained that before, I probably haven't, right? Shoto was one of Shibuya's, indeed, one of Tokyo's most upscale residential districts. Wherever one looked, there were stately manor houses giving off an imposing air, sending the message that this was no place for the common folk. Right here is fine. Minoru Arakawa directed Kimazuka to pull over. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Hopping out of the taxi, he checked the nameplates of the nearby homes. Ah, here we go. He spotted a nameplate that read, Osawa. Genji Osawa, huh? The name nagged at him somehow. It had been in the back of his mind ever since he'd seen it in the phone book at the cafe. Had he heard it someplace before? Well, okay, we know he's heard it someplace before, because 4-Star Digital Gossip did a thing about his marriage in the past. So yes. He walked up the to gate. He walked up to the gate and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded elegant. Minoru Arakawa waited, but there was no response. He looked at his watch. It was 2:30 now. His interview with Shinosuke Arai of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Wandering Angels, Episode 3. With help from Shinichi Mondo, Mondo was able to get out of his apartment. Then, when all the players had finally assembled, the troupe proceeded with one last rehearsal before showtime. But again, tragedy struck. Mondo came down with food poisoning after eating his lunch. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, and the Angels were once again lacking an actor for the key role of Shido. Arai was on the verge of panic. Finally, however, he came up with a solution. Novice actor Takuya Amo, age 31, would take on the part. Continued in Episode 4. Alright. Some more lore. Still, he wanted to meet with the twins first if it was possible. He had to make a choice. Okay, choice time. He decided to wait a little bit longer, or he decided to give up and head to his next interview. Let's wait. He decided to wait a little bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. The front door opened. A grim-looking man emerged, leading another man in handcuffs. What is going on here? What? Minoru Arakawa was standing in their way. Pardon us, the serious-looking fellow said. He gave Minoru Arakawa a curt bow as he passed by. Minoru Arakawa smelled the distinct odor of a scoop. Hey, does that guy live here? He asked. The man ignored him and kept moving. But Minoru Arakawa followed. He couldn't let this opportunity pass him by. Hey, wait up! Is that Mr. Osawa? With a grimace, the man pushed Minoru Arakawa aside and hurried his handcuffed prisoner along. For a moment, Minoru Arakawa wondered if he should keep after them, but he decided against it. Whatever was going on here, he doubted he'd be able to get an interview with the twin girls right now. This had all been an unfortunate waste of time. He had no real choice but to head along to his next interview. What is going on there? Why is Osawa being arrested? A few minutes later, the rear tire skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all. Here we are, sir, Kimazuka announced it. Wow, that was fast. Still, Minoru Arakawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Arai. Keep out! Okay. Well, we went a long way into his story. All right. So Minorikawa, wow, we're halfway into his story now. Sheesh. I am real curious. Let's do some Osawa. I do not want others intruding into my domain. Accordingly, I do not intrude on others. That is how I've lived my life. That is how I've forged my sense of calm. But something has begun to drive me mad. The boundaries between myself and others have started to collapse. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I will become something other than myself. And that is one thing I fear I could never bear. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, you don't! Kajiwara tackled Tanaka as he strode toward the door. The two men collapsed in a heap in the front entryway. Hey! Tanaka barked. What are you doing? Hold still. Kajiwara ran his bug tracker over Tanaka's body. It began beeping loudly. Ah! Kajiwara pulled off Tanaka's necktie clip. It's a listening device. Tanaka's face went pale. Where did you get this? Kajiwara demanded. He becomes a bear. Yes! Well, Tanaka trailed off into silence. A werebear, maybe? I gave it to him. It was I who had appeared on the second floor landing. You were listening in? Osawa asked brokenly. Ma'am, Kajiwara said, would you mind explaining this? For once, he seemed deadly serious. I was barely able to hear a thing. That's what I get for going with something so cheap. I held out a dangling earpiece. When and where did you get that? Earlier today, when I left to do some shopping. Oh, wait, hold the phone. Remember, she was at Cafe Lautrec, and so she bought this earlier that day at Cafe Lautrec, and Minorikawa was there, and he heard, because he had a bug tracker and it went off, and we had the choice to confront her or not. If he confronted her, it led to a bad end. So we didn't confront her. But that's interesting that one of the bad ends gave a hint to this. And why did you plant a listening device on Mr. Tanaka? Kajiwara asked. That's what I want to know, Tanaka chimed in. Why would you do this, Mrs. Osawa? He was trembling. You were outside emailing someone earlier, weren't you, Mr. Tanaka? I saw you from the window. Emailing? Kajiwara looked into Tanaka's face. I nodded. He came back into the house shortly afterward, and I asked him where he'd gone. And what do you think he said, She was practically gloating, playing to her little audience. She began stalking down the stairs. He said he'd gone to check on something at the lab, despite the fact that he was out in the yard there fiddling with his phone the whole time. So I figured if I bugged him, he might show his true colors and... Enough. Osawa cut his wife off. Tanaka had been emailing Hitomi, of course, but he couldn't reveal that now. I think I get what happened here, Kajiwara interposed. He folded his arms. Your wife thought that Mr. Tanaka was in contact with the kidnappers, and so she put a listening device on him. The detective peered at Tanaka. That's a very normal thing to do, by the way. That's a very normal thing to do. You may not like it, but that's what peak normal looks like. Yes, I suspect you're a little bit duplicitous, so I'm going to plant a bug on you to make sure. The detective peered at Tanaka. Who were you emailing, sir? Yes, that's right, I chirped. Show us your phone, Mr. Tanaka. Let's see what you were really up to. Uh-oh. Or is there some reason you don't want to show us? Osawa started to panic. If the police checked that cell phone, they'd find the emails from Hitomi. And if the kidnappers somehow found out about that, Maria's life would be in danger. Except, we know Maria is totally fine. She just kind of has a little amnesia. But I was still relentlessly advancing on Tanaka. Hey, stop this! Darling, she turned to him in surprise. Tanaka was sending emails on my behalf, Osawa said. I asked him to do it. And just who was he emailing? It was... He needed to think of a lie fast. It was me, it was someone from work, it was Pretty Honey. What? Let's say it was Pretty Honey. It was Pretty Honey. I don't know why. I just picked it. The room went silent. Wait. What did you say? Kajiwara asked after a long, awkward moment. Honey, Osawa replied meekly. My apologies, I didn't quite catch that. One more time. Pretty Honey. Osawa's voice was scarcely audible. Pretty Honey? I asked, sounding ashamed on his behalf. Who's that? Osawa felt his cheeks burning. Of all the names he might have chose, why had he picked that one? Who is it, sir? Kajiwara demanded. He regarded Osawa's face keenly. A personal associate of mine. You wouldn't know them. I love this. But why ask Tanaka to send the messages? Kajiwara asked. Don't you have a computer in your study? Couldn't you have sent the emails yourself? My computer was having problems sending email. I'm not sure what the issue was. Look, the point is, there's no reason to worry about Tanaka's emails. Now I assume we're done here. I need Tanaka to run some errands for me. With that, Osawa opened the front door. Tanaka gave him a quick bow and headed out the door. Hey, wait! I started to go after him. Just calm down! Osawa barred the way. There's no way he's connected to the kidnappers. Can't you see that? His voice cracked and he shuddered at a sudden rush of emotion. There, sir, Kajiwara said consolingly. She's just deeply worried about your daughter. I turned around and marched back upstairs. That's very nice of Kajiwara, but he knows that's not true. But still... If she is that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift seems a bit... A tie clip. Clothing accessory meant to hold one's necktie in place. In the old days, they were a quintessential part of the salaryman's outfit, along with cufflinks and the company badge. Recently, tie clips have come back into vogue with some older men, now more frequently referred to as tie bars. Kajiwara's muttering trailed off. What do you mean? Osawa asked. Nothing. Not important. The detective waved a hand dismissively, but there had been a definite note of suspicion in his voice. Oh, so suspicious. Well, back to work. Kajiwara headed back into the living room. Having successfully unclogged the toilet. I love it. Having unclogged a toilet and solved a couple mysteries, our cool guy is on his way out. Osawa returned to his study and sat in front of his computer. He had no desire to be in the presence of the detectives who now crowded his living room. The Ayakamiki fan forum for people 40 and over was still open on his monitor. He reloaded the page and saw that his earlier thread had gotten a reply. It was from Pretty Honey, a regular contributor to Osawa's threads. Pretty Honey, username of someone who posts regularly on the Ayakamiki fan forum, seems to know a lot about agriculture and the police, as evidenced by statements such as, if the world were a farm with 100 people, as well as a tendency to post to another site called the 87th Precinct Telecommunity. Incidentally, Shinya Kano's girlfriend, Rumi, also posts to the 87th Precinct Telecommunity from time to time. She has had several massive arguments with Pretty Honey there, with the latter criticizing the police for not doing their job, while Rumi insists that police work is very difficult and deserves more credit. I'm opposed to the idea of Ayakamiki expanding into America with the angry emoji. She should be able to enjoy the success she's earned in Japan without having to struggle overseas. Aya has done so much for us. I'd like her to keep supporting Japan forever. The message was festooned with the sort of emoticons that a young girl might use. Pretty Honey claimed to be a 19-year-old female college student. Although this community was meant for Ayakamiki fans 40 and over, the settings allowed anyone to post there. The only young woman among the members, however, was Pretty Honey. The thread continued, "Oh no, it's Shizuo! It's Shizuo! It's Kano's would-be almost father-in-law." I love it. I love it. By the way, have you tried the Aya fortune teller yet? There's a link below. Fortune telling, huh? The practice of determining a person's future luck or life events using cards, horoscopes, and or other methods of divination. Most people believe such prognostication when it foretells something good, and don't believe it when the outlook is bad. That's about as much faith in fortune telling as someone should have. What is this? Mega unlucky. I love it. Osawa stared. Should he ask you whether Maria was safe? If it gave him a good answer, he'd believe it. If it were a bad answer, he wouldn't. Yep. It might be worth a shot, just for the peace of mind it would bring. He clicked the link, and the Aya fortune teller page came up. It asked you to enter your birth date and sex, and then Ayakamiki would offer her advice. Osawa followed the instructions, entering his date of birth, selecting male, and then clicking next. A few seconds later, his fortune was displayed. You're a very work-minded person. He'd hoped for some insight on Maria, but instead it was just a write-up about his personality. You'd never be able to get by without the devoted support of those around you, but you probably don't realize that, do you? It's a big mistake to think you can get through all of life's challenges on your own. There's nothing cool about being ignorant. Don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Famous people who got your results. Shinosuke Orai, the playwright, the head of the Wandering Angels theater troupe. He has an interview appointment with Minoru Minorikawa at 2:30 this afternoon. Osawa couldn't help but feel that the advice was painfully appropriate. He went back to the forum and replied to Pretty Honey. Nice to hear from you again, Pretty Honey. I definitely know how you feel about Ayakamiki being ours. Still, I'm confident she's got what it takes to persevere and succeed in America. And if she does fail, well, all of us in Japan will be here to welcome her back all the same. Guess this voyage to America I've concocted just has me a little worked up. Osawa clicked post and leaned back in his chair. Mr. Osawa! Mr. Osawa! It was Kajiwara shouting from outside the door. First the toilet, then lunch. What is it now? There's been a development in the case. Please join us in the living room. We have important matters to discuss. Kajiwara had his detective face on. And not an apron. Oh no. When Osawa entered the living room, I was already there looking stern and solemn. Now that you're both here, Kajiwara said, allow me to share what we know. We've identified a location that appears to be the Syndicate's hideout. You have? What about Maria? Is she there? Osawa exclaimed. We still haven't been able to ascertain whether your daughter is safe. Well then, what were these important matters you needed to discuss? Osawa felt a wave of anxiety rush through him. The hideout in question is a condominium in Hiru, and it's owned by... By whom? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. Tell me! Go on with it! Kajiwara took a deep breath. The residence is owned by Mamoru Tanaka. Oh! Osawa was speechless. He couldn't process what he was hearing. Tanaka? Lies! I shrieked. Just what are you implying? That Mr. Tanaka is the kidnapper? Where's your proof? With all due respect, ma'am, weren't you suspicious of Mr. Tanaka yourself? Well, I suppose, but you did go so far as to stake a listening device on him. Flustered, I withdrew into a vacant silence. The sudden ringing of the phone startled everyone in the room. Was that Tanaka? No, it couldn't be. There was no way. The phone was wiretapped. The detective wearing the headset nodded to Kajiwara, who in turn motioned for Osawa to pick up. Hello? He said cautiously. Hello. Is this the home of Maria Osawa? The voice was not Tanaka's. We know whose it is. Osawa didn't recognize it, but the veil of despair that hung before him thinned slightly. Is this the home of Hitomi Osawa? This time the man on the phone used Hitomi's name instead. Yes, that's right. The caller immediately hung up. As Osawa stood there, dumbstruck, Kajiwara gently took the receiver and hung up the phone. It's Minorikawa. One of the detectives addressed Kajiwara. We've traced the source of the call to a cell phone. Also, we've pinpointed the base station used. Inform Director Kuze so he can prepare a team, just in case. Just in case? Osawa asked. What do you mean by that? Kajiwara frowned slightly. Just because this is a kidnapping case doesn't mean that every phone call comes from the kidnapper. We'll look into it, of course, but... I see. Besides, right now, confirming Mr. Tanaka's whereabouts takes priority. Don't you agree? Osawa nodded. Someone should call him, the detective added. I'll do it. I got out her cell phone and dialed up Tanaka. Where was Mr. Tanaka headed? Kajiwara asked. Oh. He eyed Osawa keenly. To work, I sent him to pick up some documents. I don't actually know. Let's be honest, I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Even leaving out the part about Hitomi, that was still the truth. If Tanaka was behind the kidnapping, Osawa knew he ought to tell the police about the blue minivan and the emails from his daughter, but part of him still trusted Tanaka deep down, and he couldn't bring himself to reveal it all. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium, Kajiwara said. Let's wait for them to report in. We have investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium. Let's wait for them to report in. Wait. We just did that twice, didn't we? It's weird. That was weird. On the far side of the room, I was squawking in frustration. Despite several attempts, she hadn't been able to get through to Tanaka. Oh. Kajiwara's phone rang and he pulled it from his pocket. Kano, what's going on? He headed into the one corner as he spoke into the receiver. I suppose that'd be all right. What for, though? After a few more quiet words, Kajiwara held his phone out to Osawa. Oh, Kano's gonna call Osawa. One of the investigators on the scene would like to speak with you. Frowning in confusion, Osawa took hold of the phone. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. There was a pause as the speaker took a deep breath before continuing. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? Oh! Wait, how far into this is it? 20 minutes? Okay. What? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Kano, which we can't go to. Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Mr. Osawa? The detective continued after a moment. Is everything all right? Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Oh, he hung up on him. He's speechless! They were after the virus. Did he mean the UA virus kept at the lab? Oh, so he told him they were after the virus. Huh, so the terrorists are after the virus. Interesting. Did he mean the UA virus kept at the lab? No, there's another virus they're after. Wait, hold on. The detective had to be wrong about that. The kidnappers must have the Uwa virus already. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to do what I did to Hitomi. Do not look away. These are your crimes. So he did give her the medicine. At last, Osawa understood what those emails from A were all about. They were a preview of the tragedy that was yet to unfold. The kidnappers probably meant to start the main event soon. It might already be too late to stop them. Mr. Osawa, Kajibara asked, are you all right? The detective gazed with concern into Osawa's ashen face. Bracing himself, Osawa spoke up, his voice hoarse and dry. A killer virus is about to be unleashed in Tokyo, and I know who's responsible. It's me. The sudden confession caused the detectives on site to stir like a hornet nest. Please, arrest me. Feeling the weight of his crimes crushing down on him, Osawa dropped his gaze to the floor. He held out both his wrists. I'll tell you everything down at the station, he said. Anything you need to know. What? Osawa imagined bodies dropping left and right. There were limits to what might be cured by the small stockpile of antiviral his lab currently contained. If they were unable to quarantine the infected in time, then Shibuya, no, all of Japan might be engulfed in a pandemic that the drug could never stop. Yeah, this game was so fun to stream 3 years ago, let me tell you. So just in case you didn't know, residents of the world, this is what a pandemic is, okay? A massive outbreak of a particular infection on a regional or global scale. In 14th century Europe, a massive cholera outbreak is said to have killed 2/3 of the population, and the Spanish flu outbreak in the early 20th century killed at least 25 million people worldwide. Given modern advances in transportation, some researchers are of the opinion that the global risk of a pandemic is higher than ever before. I don't know. I think it's because I'm so tiny and obscure. The risk of a global pandemic is higher than ever before. Oh, 2008, you so silly. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. He could only hope that his complying with the authorities might help stop the spread of the infection before it was too late. And yet we still haven't had one, shrug. Oh, what? Whoa! Bad end! They nuked the city. A guilty conscience. I'm never gonna research again. Guilty conscience has no science. The thought of the Uwa virus devastating Japan filled Osawa with despair. Blaming himself, he asked to be arrested. Raccoon City ending, yes. Yes, it is. It's the Raccoon City treatment. But this only happened because of what Kano said to him. A simple error in a word choice led Osawa to a completely wrong conclusion. Kano ought to properly inform Osawa just what the kidnappers are after. So they're, oh wait, so they weren't out. No, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. Oh, I love it. No. Let's get to Kano again. Let's get to Kano again. Kanan, Kano muttered. What's Kanan? The stench of blood hung heavy in the basement bar. Stanley was silent, staring at the criminal's corpse. Hey, do you know anything about this? Kano asked. Still, Stanley gave no response. The silent treatment again, huh? Kano huffed. The American glanced at him gravely. In all likelihood, the one who did this was acting alone. Alone? Against this many other people? Who on earth? There's no need for you to know. Cut the crap! Kano snapped. He grabbed Stanley by the collar. How many times has he done that? How many times has he, like, thrown a fist at him, grabbed him, all that? If there's someone involved in this case who's capable of something like this, I need to know about it. How am I supposed to do my job if you keep me in the dark? Stanley remained stone-faced. Look, I'm not afraid of the risks, Kano said. And I'll be a lot more effective if you at least fill me in on the basics here. The more you know, the sooner you'll wind up dead. Kano tightened his grip. But it's okay if I wind up dead while I'm still in the dark, huh? Fine, Stanley said. I'll answer your first question. He brushed Kano's arm aside. Kanan is the name of a covert operative from the Middle East. Covert operative, in simple terms, is a type of spy that infiltrates hostile territory to carry out various clandestine activities. I believe she's the one who killed these people here. The Middle East? A covert operative? Kano hadn't expected spycraft to be involved with this. Yes, she's an assassin and a cryptanalysis specialist. Do you recall the mass jailbreak from Abu Ghraib prison a while back? Oh no! We're bringing this in? Abu Ghraib prison. Oh no. Oh, okay. Here we go. Abu Ghraib prison. A prison in Iraq west of Baghdad. Under the Hussein government, it was an internment facility for political prisoners, but following the Iraq War, it was used by the U.S. Army to house prisoners of war. In April of 2004, photographs of detainees being tortured by U.S. soldiers were released, causing a massive scandal. President Bush later made the decision to have the facility demolished. Who was still president at the time this game came out, by the way. Kanan was the one who provided the intel the escapees used to get out. Kano was at a loss for words. The case was suddenly starting to seem a whole lot more sinister. Whoever this Kanan was, she'd apparently killed nearly a dozen people with only a knife. She was clearly no one to trifle with. And she didn't kill him with a teacup like Richard B. Riddick would, though. Just what kind of individual were they dealing with here? He could scarcely imagine. Once again, Kano surveyed the crime scene. Each of the murdered criminals had had his throat slit. From the look of the deep, clean cuts, the killer hadn't hesitated in the slightest. Okay. So then what connection does this Kanan have with the mastermind behind the kidnapping? If Kanan had killed all of the foreign syndicate members in this bar, did that mean she and the person behind the kidnapping were enemies? Or perhaps she and the kidnapper were working in concert and she'd carried out these slayings as part of some plan to get rid of some loose ends? I believe I said I'd answer one question. Turning away, Stanley picked up a file from atop a nearby table. Apparently he wasn't in the sharing mood. Stanley didn't go to kindergarten. Stanley, what are you doing now? Realizing that further questions would be pointless, Kano peered sidelong at the file as Stanley opened it. Inside was a detailed map of Shibuya. There were various routes marked with arrows and times. That's the plan for the ransom relay. Kano was so excited he blurted his thoughts out loud. It appeared that the ultimate goal for the ransom was a condominium. The address and the time, 1420, were written in red ink. Kano put in an immediate call to the investigation task force to relay his information. And that's where they found out it's Tanaka. The final destination is Ground Hill number 405 in Hiru 534, Shibuya. All right, Kuze told him. We'll look into who owns the condo in question. You and Stanley head over there now. I'm sending backup to go in with you. You have authorization to apprehend the suspect. Finally hearing the order that he'd so long been waiting for, Kano felt a spark of determination flare inside him. All right, let's go, he said, some of his excitement slipping into his voice. Stanley, still solemn, closed the file and followed him out of the bar. Stanley drove along Inokashiradori. I did it. Oof. Toward Hiru, where the finish line for the ransom relay was located. His demeanor was cold and brooding, in sharp contrast with Kano's gung-ho readiness. He seemed lost in some deep and cheerless thought. Kuze's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Meiji-dori. We've identified the owner of the condominium. It's... Kano held his breath in anticipation. The name Kuze spoke caught him by surprise entirely. Oh, keep out, but we know who it is. All right. That's cool. We could go for some... Let's go with Maria's story. The sales clerk continues to stare at me. You know, you look really familiar, he says. Huh? Really? I perk up at that. Maybe I can find out something about who I am. Yeah, you totally looks like some pop singer or TV personality. I just can't remember who. Oh, that's what you meant. My shoulders slump in disappointment. Look, if you're trying to flatter me, how about a discount on the necklace? Sure, okay. I mean, it's just something I picked off the side of the road. The sales clerk stammers for a moment. Okay, how about I take off 10,000, 30,000, and it's yours. The different, I love it. The different little like bouncing around he's doing behind her. You mean it? That perks me right back up. Guess I'm easy to please. Get your mind out of the gutter. That's not what she means, and you know it. What? You look like a famous diet drink saleswoman. Yes. Sure, you look like you might need to buy some new clothes, too. He points to my sweater. Oh, it's ripped. There's a tiny tear in the left shoulder. Oh, there is. So, what do you want to do about the cat? The sales clerk adds. Want me to dispose of it for you? He gestures at my costume with his jaw. Oh, right. What should I do? He obviously wants to help me. May as well have him get rid of the costume. I feel a little guilty about asking him to get out of his way for me more than he has already. Maybe I should deal with it myself. Let's deal with it ourselves. I feel a little guilty about having him go out of his way for me more than he has already. Maybe I should deal with it myself. He looks a bit disappointed when I tell him that. Okay. I buy the necklace for 30,000 yen and leave the knick-knack shop, hauling the costume with me. But as I walk along, I start regretting my decision. I can't find a good place to throw the cat outfit away. Finally, I spot a convenience store that looks like it'll do just fine. One of the employees is out front cleaning out the trash can. Several large garbage bags line the side of the road. Perfect. Maybe I can have him toss out the costume along with everything else. Excuse me. So, I've got this old cat suit here. Many conversations start this way. I figure it can't hurt to ask. Yeah, I know. The shop boy takes the costume from me. What? Taku Okaru, 22-year-old, getting out by on part-time employment. Recently, after a number of employees quit in rapid succession, the owner hurriedly took on several new hires. But for some reason, instead of everyone chipping in on the cleaning, Okaru always winds up stuck doing it. You heard to throw this thing out. I got it. He sounds wholly unsurprised. He accepts it so blithely that I actually feel bad. It's been like this all morning, he says. I don't even care anymore. Just throw away what you need and be on your way, I guess. It's been like what all morning? I'm out here cleaning, and people keep dumping trash on me. First it was this couple that up and threw a garbage bag at me. The couple, Achi Endo and Hitomi Osawa, the two have just run into a girl called Kanan. Then some homeless-looking guy came by, took all his clothes off, and left. Homeless-looking guy, Detective Yuji Sasayama from the Shibuya precinct. At the moment, Sasayama is searching for a costume for his next disguise. Oh no! He's gonna disguise himself again. Like just now, some chubby girl tossed out some empty cardboard boxes and a bunch of empty bottles. That must have been cheery. She was probably drinking the burning hammer while she walked along. So when you came by just now with this thing, I knew right away. Yep, this again. I'm sorry. It's all right. 3 times, 4 times, what's the difference? He flashes a bright smile, but it's clearly insincere. And then he looks at me more closely. Huh. Aren't you the girlfriend of the dude who threw the bag of garbage at me? What? Nope, not me. Guess I'm misremembering then. Well, anyway, thanks for your help with this. I gave the guy a bow. Hey! Sega! It's a Sega! Sega Arcade! They have those all over the place in Japan. If the Yakuza games are meant to be taken seriously, made by Sega. Is Manlet Thorin in here? He needs to know that there's a Sega reference in this game. I bet Sonic's gonna show up any minute now. And he's gonna be like, come on, guys! Let's go stop that virus outbreak! A few minutes later, near the station, I spot a sort of mall. Checking the directory by the entrance, I see that it's got several clothing shops and an arcade inside. They probably sell shirts in here. I hurry on inside. The interior of the building is like a twisting maze of corridors, all of them overflowing with people. I take the escalator to the second floor and find myself amidst rows of arcade games. I was trying to get to the fashion area, but I must have gone the wrong way. Excuse me! Oh no, it's him! You haven't seen a lost little girl, have you? I turn to see a miserable-looking, middle-aged man peering at me anxiously. Teru Toyama. He got separated from his daughter Hana while running from debt collectors. He's on edge, worried that the men who are after him might take Hana hostage. Have you seen her? A little girl, about 10 years old. A girl around 10? Have I seen her? What's her name? Hana. Hana Toyama. Hana? Oh, that's a pretty name. So, she's about yay tall. The man launches into a rapid-fire explanation describing the girl's features, hair, and clothes. I got separated from her around Center Guy. She likes this place, so I thought maybe she'd come here. Center Guy? That's right, now I remember. This is the guy I bumped into earlier in the afternoon while I was racing around in the cat costume. He got separated from his daughter. Yikes. If she did come here, it's not going to be easy to find her in the midst of these crowds. Are you sure she didn't go back home? I ask. Well, there's this problem, he mutters. Going home isn't an option. Well, that's not really an explanation. Sorry to bother you. I'll look around a bit more. With that, Hana's father disappears into the crowd with an amazing sound effect. Whew! I leave the arcade and head for the fashion area. Hey, I hear Ayakamiki. I bump into Mr. Yanagishita in a hallway lined with photo booths. Huh? Boss? What's he doing in a place like this? Oh, Tama! You're out of the suit! He's like literally the only person who knows what she looks like out of the suit, too. It's great. For some reason, he's got a bunch of magazines strewn across the floor. Yeah, finally managed to get it off. That's good. I wish you could have been at the sales demo without your face hidden away. What are you doing? You mentioned something about a creek earlier. Are you going on a trip? Yeah, I was, but then I remembered something important. I get motion sickness, something fierce. He sounds kind of proud of himself. So yeah, no trips for me. Heck, I don't even want to think about that now. What about the money that you owe? I asked, curious. Well, as it happens, I think I may have found my solution. He brings a hand to his mouth and giggles. Right here. I found a great way to make a killing. Make a killing. To earn a lot of money, usually in a very short time, and with little effort. The phrase originated in the 19th century in reference to hunters who were paid based on the number of kills they made. Oh no, it's 4-star General Gossip! He opens the magazine he's holding to reveal a scratch card with the potential 100,000 yen prize. You learn something every day. Seriously, this game is going to teach you a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And it's going to be important stuff too, okay? Stuff that's going to stick with you for a long time. You just got to scratch off one of these to win 100,000 yen. All I need is 30 of them and my debt's squared away. Each magazine I can nab is more money for me. Despite his enthusiasm, his story doesn't quite add up. Are those scratch cards guaranteed to win? No, of course not. It's a lottery sort of thing. Looks directly into the camera. I love it. That's amazing. Well then having 30 copies of the magazine is hardly a foolproof solution, except that the horrible dramatic irony is That thing is in fact flawed, and you can 100% get it right, as we all know from the previous parts of this story. That see, I've paid attention. I know. I'm not the resident Shibuya lore master, but you know, I know. Quite the opposite, in fact. But I hold my tongue. Okay then, now that my goddess of fortune, Tom, is here, let me hurry and scratch these suckers off. Yanagishita begins fervently scratching away at the first card with a coin. Oh, that one's a loser. Maybe the next one. Nope, that's a loser too. Yes, so this one, and this one. In a spectacular display, he scratches off one losing card after another. Soon he's down to just one last magazine. You're not a very lucky person, are you? Oh, please don't say that! Mr. Yanagishita looks like he's on the verge of tears. I stare at one of the losing scratch cards. You know, if you could just see the symbols through the card, you'd win for sure, I say jokingly. Oh, game, I know what you're doing. I hold the card up to the light. When I do, I really can see the symbols through the card. Boss, I think I might have just... Shh! I love that she's still calling him boss, despite the fact that they very obviously aren't employed together anymore. He interrupts me before I can share my shocking discovery. I look at him in surprise. Mr. Yanagishita has gone all pale. Quiet, Tama. Those guys are here. He shoves me into a photo booth. Those guys? The debt collectors, he hisses. They just do not give up. He clutches the sides of his head. Peeking out of the booth, I spot a pair of men who look pretty rough around the edges. Is it those two? Shh, not so loud! The men are looking around and they're getting closer and closer. What do I do? Oh, what do I do? Mr. Yanagishita starts getting panicky. Tama, what do I do? I have no idea. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. Mr. Yanagishita whimpers. Let's see. This guy gave me a job, so I kind of owe him. I look around for a better place for the two of us to hide. Getting involved with these thugs struck me as a bad idea. I pretend not to know. Yanagishita. Let's do number B. Let's not deny Yanagishita. This guy gave me a job, so I kind of owe him. I'll look around for a better place for the two of us to hide. Unfortunately, I don't really see anywhere that might work. We might be safest staying right where we are. Just stay nice and still and we'll be fine, I whisper. Yeah, you're probably right. The curtain is drawn so people can't see inside, but just to keep up appearances, we start taking photos as if we're normal customers. I really hope they don't look in here, Mr. Yanagishita murmurs. What'll we do if they find us? He's got those facial expressions. Oh, they're so perfect. I love it. They won't. Just don't worry. Despite my reassurances, there was a while before he stopped trembling. Then he said, You know, Tama, they say that when a man and a woman meet under unusual circumstances, it's easy for them to fall in love. Uh-huh. Do they now? They do. Going through an extreme situation together makes you fall for each other. So, want to go get married? No way. Yeah, I am not having this conversation. It just quick. I love it. Nope, sorry. Anyway, I think they're gone now, the debt collectors, I mean. Mr. Yanagishita peeks out and quickly scans the surrounding area. They're gone? They're gone! So long, losers! His fear has given way to a burst of manic energy. Guess I'm in the clear now. Thanks, Tama! Come on, let's take some commemorative photos. Huh? To commemorate what, exactly? Come on, it'll be fun. Okay, big smile now. Ready? Cheese! Butter! Margarine! Afro life. Oh, amazing. After that, I part ways with Mr. Yanagishita and head to a different floor. I don't tell him about being able to see through the scratch cards. The guy really ought to develop a proper work ethic. Ouch! Guy ought to learn to code. Hey, come on, wake up. Or wait up. I'm on the escalator to the third floor when I hear someone shouting. I figure it's someone yelling to their kid, but when I turn, I see a young man I don't recognize staring right at me. Where are you going? It's not safe for us to get too separated. What? Who's this weirdo? Is this some new pickup trick or something? I rush up the escalator to get away from the guy. Gee, I wonder who that could have been. When I get to the restaurant section on the 4th floor, I'm hit with a sudden pang of hunger. That's right. This woman has not eaten at all today. What's in the background? What's in the background? It's Sonic. He can really move. Come to think of it, I haven't eaten a thing all day. I'm so hungry, mutter to myself as I walk around. What should I eat? Then I spot Cheery coming out of a Chinese restaurant. Hey, Cheery. She turns to look at me, confused. Who are you? Oh, it's me. It's Tama. Ah, I thought I recognized that voice, she replies with a nod. Did you eat again? I ask. Well, yeah, but then they kicked me out. Isn't that just terrible? She looks pretty displeased. I came here because they said it was all you can eat, but then they closed shop because they ran out of food. The tears running down the woman's eyes. I love it. Oh, wow. You're right. I spot one of the restaurant staff hanging a closed sign on the front door. Man, now my early afternoon snack is ruined. An afternoon snack? At an all-you-can-eat buffet? I can't help but stare at Cheery's midsection, amazed by what that stomach is capable of. By the way, have you seen the boss? She asks. I thought he'd finally accepted that he needs to buckle down and work, but he's got some new crazy scheme. Guess the guy's just never gonna learn. I figure nothing's good's gonna come from associating with him. I'd be careful if I were you, too. Huh. Done with her little rant, Cheery says goodbye and heads off among the restaurants. Hey, Tommy? Who said that? Were they talking to me? Oh, it's Tanaka! I turn to see a businessman of some sort staring in my direction. Like everyone I've run into today, I don't recognize him. For some reason, though, I feel relaxed in his presence. Is that you, Hitomi? Hitomi? Could that be my name? Or are you Maria? No, As I fumble for words, the man peers at me with obvious concern. What are you doing in a place like this? We need to get you back home. Your parents are worried sick. My parents? Did someone file a missing person report while I've been wandering around with amnesia? The man leads the way and I follow. We leave the Gigo building, but head down a narrow alleyway. Then the man suddenly stops. I feel a jolt of anxiety as I notice something gleaming in his hand. It doesn't matter which of the two you are. You're both in the way. He mutters, almost as if talking to himself. Oh, a hammer! Right after that, everything goes dark. Bad end. Oof. A mysterious man. A suspicious man. After meeting a man who seemed to know her on the restaurant level, our heroine hoped to find out more about her past. Instead, she wound up getting attacked in an alleyway. Ultimately, this all came to pass because she was avoiding that young man who mistook her for Hitomi. If he hadn't gone shouting after her, she would have gone on to buy some clothes, as she'd originally intended. Oh. Okay. We kind of soft confirmed Tanaka's a baddie. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well that means Achi's up, I believe. Cause yeah. Let's do it. Achi time. You must be Hitomi. The girl called Kanan spoke fairly fluent Japanese. Hitomi nodded in response. Yes, that's me. And you're Kanan, right? How did you know my name? Did Maria tell you? Yes. She told me about this amazing girls from overseas she made friends with. A thin smile crossed Kanan's lips at the word amazing. Then her look grew sad. Poor Maria. It's my fault that she was abducted. What? Achi and Hitomi gasped in unison. That's why I have to rescue her, Kanan added. Hold on a second, Hitomi said. What do you mean it's your fault? Kanan replied by jerking her chin. They love doing that, in the direction of the main road. Better head that way, she said softly. Someone's coming. But Hitomi didn't back down. Please tell me, why was my sister kidnapped? Several sets of footsteps echoed down the alley. They could see figures approaching now, by the looks of them, accomplices of the man Kanan had taken down earlier. You two get out of here, she warned. I'll handle this. She stepped out in front of Achi and Hitomi, moving with such confidence that they didn't doubt she could handle the threat. Come to the Gigo building at 3 o'clock, she added quietly, never taking her eyes off the advancing syndicate members. Huh? Hitomi squeaked. I'll explain everything then. The criminals broke into a run. Okay, come on, Hitomi. Let's go, Achi hissed. He took her by the hand and bolted from the alleyway. Whoa, there they go. The two didn't slow their pace until they'd put plenty of distance between themselves and the alleyway. Kanan said this was her fault. What could she have meant by that? A hard run hadn't made Hitomi forget the other girl's startling suggestion. Well, she said she'll meet up with us again later, Achi said. We can ask her more about it then. In the meantime, an ache in his belly had made Achi realize he'd been running all day and hadn't eaten since the morning. People on a diet need to be careful about skipping meals. Going too long without proper nourishment can cause the body to store up its energy reserves, leading to weight gain instead of weight loss. Proper eating habits and proper exercise are key. Maybe it's not the best timing, but do you want to get some food? I'll be okay. Hitomi's face was racked with emotion. It's only natural, Achi thought. Not only was she afraid for her sister's life, but there was all these people out to kill her too. And with this Kanan girl suddenly showing up, the situation was even more confusing than ever. Still, they might as well address the few problems they could control. There was a fast food joint nearby. Well, let's go in there, Achi said. You might not be hungry, but you should still make sure you stay hydrated. Hitomi shook her head, but her wan face practically radiated exhaustion. Come on, we should rest up a little. But there's no rush. If we're going to meet up with Kanan later, it's probably best if we don't just wander aimlessly until then. Never know who we might run into. I guess you're right. The two went into the fast food restaurant together. Sweden! Welcome, said the girl at the register with a bright smile. May I take your order? I'll have the spaghetti with meat sauce. How about you, Hitomi? Spaghetti with meat sauce. Spaghetti with a sauce made from tomatoes and ground meat. Also known as spaghetti bolognese. If you want to sound more Italian, like Napolitan spaghetti. Flavored with ketchup. It is a perennial favorite of Japanese children. Frozen packages at the supermarket for around 200 yen a pop make for a simple and decently tasty microwavable meal that's also easy on the wallet. I'll just have an iced tea. Hey now, you should probably eat at least a little something. Okay, then I'll have a strawberry parfait. A strawberry parfait. A dessert of strawberries topped with ice cream and whipped cream. Hitomi has been so worried about her sister that she hasn't eaten anything since last night, but being with Achi has calmed her nerves a little, and her appetite has returned. Perhaps her reflexive order of a strawberry parfait is a sign that she's not only hungry, but also still a little girl with a sweet tooth at heart. How heartwarming. She sounded a little embarrassed to be ordering a dessert. So yeah, one spaghetti with meat sauce and a strawberry parfait, please, said Achi. Coming right up. The cashier promptly assembled their meal and set it out on a tray. We've got a special contest going on right now, she said. Please check it out if you're interested. The girl handed Achi a flyer. They read, Iron Stomach Eating Contest. Eat 1,000 scoops of ice cream and win 10 million yen. Okay. Iron Stomach. a competitive eating event held by this establishment, backed by Sun TV. The competition has been shared with the entire country over the internet. Many contestants have entered for a shot at the 10 million yen prize, but so far, no one has been able to complete the eating challenge. Due to the large number of competitors who suffer from gastrointestinal distress as a result of their efforts, roughly 30 portable toilets have been set up outside the restaurant. Oh my gosh! Wow! 30 toilets! What the heck? Achi stared at the flyer as he took a seat at an open table. 1,000 scoops? That's impossible! Anyway, let's hurry up and eat. As Achi stuffed his face with spaghetti, he thought back to their encounter with Kanan. The girl had helped them out, but could they really trust her completely? It must be dangerous to meet up with her again. Still, Hitomi needed to know more about what had happened to Maria, and Kanan obviously knew something about that. It looked like they need to take that risk. We found Yanagishida's good ending. Yes, we did. This is all he needs to do. Eat all the ice cream. My sister really is amazing. Huh? Hitomi's quiet words drew Achi from his ruminations. Look at that. He paused with a fork full of spaghetti halfway to his mouth. My sister met Kanan while she was on a trip to the Middle East with my father. Hitomi nibbled at her parfait, looking lonesome. Cool, but how does that in particular make your sister amazing? It's typical of her is all. She's so dynamic and gung-ho about things. Hitomi explained, her gaze turned inward. It was just my father and sister who took that trip to the Middle East. I didn't go with them. I guess my mental image of that part of the world is mostly that it's really dangerous. To me, going there seemed like a huge risk, but Maria didn't see it that way. Your sister sounds like a bit of a loose cannon. But if you can't bring yourself to take risks, to do things, Hitomi continued, you can't meet new people and have new experiences. That's the part I always get hung up on, the risk. I'd never be able to make a friend like Kanan. Achi's mind wandered as he listened to Hitomi talk. Let's see, she and her sister might be twins, but each of them was still unique. Just what kind of person was Hitomi's sister? He just wanted to sit there and listen to her voice. How about A? She and her sister might be twins, but each of them was still unique. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there, he said. He held up a hand to cut her off. Huh? Hitomi's eyes went wide. Why are you comparing yourself to your sister? I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a twin, but can't you just be yourself? Professor Palmer said the same thing. Leland Palmer! Achi didn't recognize the name. Oh, sorry. Leland Palmer. See? He's my university English professor. He's given me advice on a whole bunch of things. That sounded rather intimate. All sorts of blurring images shot through Achi's mind. So, how old is this teacher of yours? Huh? Around 40 or so, I guess? Great, Achi thought to himself. Another middle-aged guy. Oh no! His mind filled with another sequence of slightly more upsetting images! If she doesn't start taking risks, she'll never end up as BFFs with the world's best assassin and super spy. Exactly! Oh hey, ain't that Hitomi Osawa? Oh wow, you're right, it totally is! A college-age couple sitting behind them were talking in hushed, excited tones. I love the spaghetti smear on his chin, that's great. Man, she really is a cutie, the young man observed. He made no attempt to hide the fact he was looking Hitomi over. Hey, hold on, Masa, said the girl, what gives? Masa, a first-year student at Midoriyama Academy who works part-time as a delivery driver for Dogen Hut, a noodle shop in Dogenzaka. He's taken the day off work today in an attempt to draw a dry run of the Iron Stomach eating competition, hoping to strike it rich while his girlfriend looks on. But now that he's eaten 2 parfaits, his stomach isn't feeling well, and he's just gotten back from his 5th trip to the toilet. Well, I mean, she is Miss Midoriyama, right? Miss Midoriyama? Let's see. Achi turned to the couple. Hey, did you just say she's Miss Midoriyama? Achi said nothing, kept his ears turned to the couple's conversation. Achi did his best to ignore the couple. Whatever they're talking about couldn't be that important. Come on, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. Achi turned to the couple. Hey, did you just say she's Miss Midoriyama? The couple stared at him in surprise, but Achi was undeterred. What you were saying just now, is that true? The man's face twisted up in embarrassment. Yeah, I mean, the girl you're with, she won a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy, you know? I just got a little excited is all. Achi turned back to Hitomi. Is that so? He asked, peering intently at her face. Well, yes. She smiled awkwardly. He turned to the young man again. I knew she was pretty darn cute, he said. Guess I'm not the only one. Nodding in understanding, he sat back down. Miss Midoriyama. Well, I'll be. The two students, unnerved by Achi's questions, quickly got up and scurried away. It was Professor Palmer who convinced me to enter that beauty contest, actually, Hitomi said. The Miss Midoriyama contest at Midoriyama Academy was considered one of the top student beauty pageants in Japan. Pin-up shots of both Hitomi and Maria have already graced the pages of several magazines. Talent agencies also made attempts to scout them, but both girls declined, claiming that they entered the contest just for the memories, and they have no interest in show business. Okay. Huh. Achi's smile twisted up a little. He said if I really wanted to change myself, I should try entering. Achi maintained his outward composure, but inside his heart was racing. Tanaka and Palmer. Which of them held Hitomi's true affections? He looks so deranged there, I love it. Or was she possibly leading on two middle-aged men at the same time? The more he thought about it, the worse his delusions became. What actually happened, though, is my sister and I both won the prize. Hitomi's words snapped him out of his funk. She sounded disappointed. Huh? They gave out a double prize? Turns out my sister had entered the competition, too. She smiled a self-deprecating smile. Guess twins really do think alike, huh? Hey, double schmubble, you still won a prize, right? That's pretty impressive. Nah, they just picked me as an afterthought to my sister because twins sharing the prize made for a good headline. She looked away sadly. Did they say they picked you as an afterthought? They didn't have to. It was obvious that my sister really won. You can't know that. Maybe she was the afterthought. Come on, you need to believe in yourself. Hitomi just hung her head. But I'm such a terrible person. Suddenly her eyes welled up with tears. I hate myself so much I could never forgive myself for what I did. Hey, whoa! Achi watched her with trepidation. She looked like she might start bawling at any moment. What's the matter? The night my sister was kidnapped, I was supposed to go to a college party with her. But then all of a sudden she told me not to go. I kept asking her why not, but she just kept insisting I couldn't. Hitomi's face was bleak with regret. We both got mad and I wound up blowing up at her. Okay, I get it. I don't need to go to the party. Fine. I'd just be a little tag-along anyway. Just like in that beauty contest. You couldn't just let me enter that by myself, could you? You always have to be the center of attention. Maria scowled. Fine. The party starts at 7 o'clock. Try not to forget, okay? I was kicking myself as soon as I told her off. My sister isn't the sort of person to tell me what to do or not do. She must have had a reason for not wanting me to go. I was planning on apologizing to her after the party, but then she was abducted, right? Achi polished off the last of his spaghetti. He sat down his fork, then wiped his mouth. He told me, I get where you're trying so hard to save your sister, he said. And maybe I'm not as tough as that Kanan girl, but I'll stick with you to the end, if you'll let me. He tried his best to convey an optimism he didn't really feel. Achi has confirmed the Samwise Gamgee of this game. Anybody else agree? And once we found her, and she's safe and sound, you can tell her you're sorry about what you said. At long last, Hitomi cracked a smile. A short while later, the two arrived outside the Gigo building. They were a little early for their 3 o'clock meetup with Kanan. He had decided that searching at random for the blue minivan was too risky. He could easily draw the attention of the man with the cane or the foreign kidnappers. Getting information from Kanan seemed like the best next move. Oh hey, Hachi said as they waited. You've got a little rip in your top. Hitomi glanced at her shoulder and saw the tear in the fabric. Oh, you're right. When did that happen, I wonder? We must have snagged it on something while we were running, I guess. We've got some time before Kanan gets here. Do you want to buy some new clothes? It's in the same space, too. Interesting. Huh? Are you sure that's a good idea? We'll stick out if we just stand around here waiting. Might as well go ahead inside the building until it's time. Since many celebrities did their shopping at Gigo, there were back entrances for times when the place was crowded. Everyone who frequented the old shopping district knew about them, including Achi and Hitomi. In a pinch, one of those back entrances could be an escape route. With this in mind, the two headed inside. That looks like a legit cool place. I would love to check that place out. I wonder if it's still there. Shibuya Gigo was an entertainment complex featuring a wide video arcade and fashion shops. At the time of this story, Gigo includes not only a fashion mall, but various amusements on its different levels. The second floor features all ages fun with rides, games, and sticker machines, while the third floor sports the latest arcade games for the core gamer. There's also a food court that offers things such as crepes and loaded takoyaki octopus dough balls. That sounds incredible. And hey, it's not the 428, that's real. So that's a real place. Hopefully it's still there. The ground floor and two basement levels of the building were designed as an amusement area, outfitted with skee-ball, claw cranes, fighting games, and the like. The second floor held a mix of photo booths and ladies' wear shops. On the third floor were specialty fashion boutiques, and on the fourth were restaurants. Achi and Hitomi took the L escalator to the second floor. Hitomi started heading for the shops, but Achi stopped her. Hey, wait up! What's the matter? A dude hanging around a women's clothing store is going to stand out. I'll wait for you here. There seemed to be nobody but female customers around. If the man with the cane or the kidnappers appeared, Achi figured he would spot them right away. It should be safe for Hitomi to shop on her own for a while. Alright, Hitomi said. I'll try to make this quick. She began to head out onto the sales floor. Whew! Ah, yes! A seedy-looking man poked out from beneath the door of a photo booth right at Hitomi's feet. That was a close one, wasn't it, Tama? He said to her. I thought I was dead meat for sure. His tone was oddly cheerful, considering what he was saying. Who's this guy? Achi asked. You know him? No, I don't. The sketchy fellow gave her an ingratiating look. Come on, Tama, don't be like that. Hitomi took an anxious step back. Hey, man, knock it off. Achi dragged the guy up to his feet. Okay, no need to get all testy. That facial expression, amazing. Who is this guy, Tama? He your boyfriend? Boyfriend? Achi didn't want to give him the wrong impression. A bashful grin spread across Achi's face. I guess that might be one way to get rid of him. That's right, so how about you get lost? Come on. Gigo looks like it's still around. A new location was opened in 2023, according to AI. Cool! Alright. I am actually going to be taking my daughter to Japan sometime in the next couple years, so I want to go check this place out, for sure. Alright. We're going to do A. Is what he was about to say, but Hitomi spoke up first. Oh, no! We got... No, he's not. What? So you're not her boyfriend? The guy flashed a broad grin. Hey, listen, you creep. Who the hell are you? Oh, me? The man's face suddenly blanched. Oh, crap. Tama, hold on to this for a bit, will you? The weirdo shoved a worn-out magazine into Hitomi's hands and bolted off in a panic. The heck was that all about? Yeah, I wonder why I ran off like that. Achi and Hitomi stared at one another. Well, anyway, Achi said, looking in the background of the two Yakuza guys. There are a lot of nut jobs out there, so just be careful, yeah? Okay, if anything happens, I'll give you a shout. Hitomi flashed him an impish smile, then scampered off onto the sales floor. As he watched her go, Achi muttered to himself, damn it. Why does she have to be so cute? "5 minutes or more passed as Achi waited for Hitomi. Why are there women taking pictures of him? What is going on there? He stood by the escalator, almost as if he were keeping guard. Female shoppers began to give him icy stares for being somewhere he probably shouldn't. This sucks. Come on, Hitomi, hurry up and get back here. The longer he waited, the more uncomfortable he felt. How long was she going to take? Then he happened to turn around to see Hitomi running the escalator up. It looked like she had indeed bought some new clothes. Hey, Hitomi! She didn't seem to hear him. He decided to go after her. Yeah. Let's not shout. Because he's mean. Yeah, he is. He's mean clean. That's right. He decided to go after her. Had she forgotten where he was waiting for her? He stayed on the escalator, heading up toward the top floor. So shouting at her leads to the bad end for Maria. Achi followed her, but by the time he reached the top, she was out of sight. This was the restaurant floor, so it was more open than the other levels. Restaurant floor. A floor designed solely for eateries. Typically, this is the topmost floor of a mall building like Gigo. Those who head up here during morning hours will likely find the place deserted. Gigo's restaurant floor features a variety of different cuisines, including Chinese, Italian, creative Japanese food, sushi, tempura, and other delicacies from around the world. He hurriedly began to look around. As he wandered, he bumped into a man talking on his cell phone. Oh, sorry, my bad. Achi held up a hand in apology, but the man was too engrossed in his conversation to notice. No, you're not getting it. The lock was undone too. The man startled Achi by suddenly shouting into his phone. You need to consider the risk of it getting out. Whatever this guy was talking about, he sure was angry with whoever was on the other end. Look, I'll figure out what to do about the minivan. You just handle things on your end. Minivan? Achi's interest was piqued, but he needed to find Hitomi before he let anything distract him. That's a cool phone. I miss flip phones. As he scoured the fourth floor, he came across a Chinese buffet and noticed the large windows in its outer walls. You could see a lot of Shibuya through these windows. Maybe Hitomi had decided to look for the minivan from up here. One of the restaurant employees came rushing up as Achi headed inside. Sir, I'm sorry, she said. Sir, you'll have to forgive the inconvenience. We're not open to the public. Not right now. Not at the moment, I mean. I love the comical tears going down her face. The employee's voice was oddly subdued for some reason. Employee, Masai Takai, a part-time staffer at Imabiki Chinese restaurant. Her boss chewed her out pretty bad for showing up at work with her nails manicured black. She was ordered to go to the restroom and scrub them clean, but no amount of nail polish remover was able to do the trick, and so she's been dealing with her boss's wrath all day long. It's like, what is that? It's so horrifying. I love it. Why not? Achi asked. Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food. They ate all of it? Looking around, Achi saw a chubby young woman camped out at a table by one of the windows. Set out before her was a veritable mountain of plates. What I'm trying to say, sir, is that we're closed for the rest of the day. Oh, but I'm with her, actually, Achi lied. Without waiting for a reply, he barged into the restaurant. He took a quick look around, but there was no sign of Hitomi. I love it. She didn't eat her peas. Before leaving, though, he figured he'd at least take a look out the windows. The huge glass panes looked out onto Dogenzaka. He had a decent view of the roads, but he didn't spot a blue minivan. Fluids are steaming out of her eyes either because she caught the super virus or had a run-in with Cheery. Yes, one of those two. Uh-oh. Oh. He let out a tiny gasp. Even from 4 stories up, there was no mistaking what he saw. A group of black-clad foreign men had gathered outside the building. Had they figured out that he and Hitomi were inside? He needed to find her, and fast. He raced out of the restaurant, alert for trouble. Keep out! Alright, cool. Let's see. What else have we got here? Let's do a little bit more. I think let's try to bust Kano's keep out, which I think is here. Oh wait, no, here. Shinya Kano. But real quick, I'm gonna grab a drink and then we'll get back onto it. Be right back. All right, back. Let's see. So where's the Shinya Kano jump? Let's see. Wait, did I miss it? I think I did. All right. On his earlier thread, it was pretty honey, Shinya Kano. There we go. Do it. Yeah, we busted the keep out. Kuze's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Meiji Dori. We've identified the owner of the condominium. It's Mamoru Tanaka. He's a colleague of Kenji Osawa. What? Kano squawked. This was an unexpected twist. Kajiwara confirms that Tanaka left the Osawa residence just after 1400 hours. No word on his movement since then. It's possible he headed to his private condo, where the attaché case is slated to end up. And the officer who runs across Tanaka is to apprehend him on sight. Kuze cut the connection. This mastermind you've been chasing, Kano asked. Is it Tanaka? Stanley didn't reply. Fine. Never mind. I just wish I could know if Tatano was safe. Still worried about that traitor, huh? So, Stanley could ignore all his questions, but still remember to make snide remarks. Talking about Tatano's the thing that gets a reaction out of you, isn't it? Kano snorted. What makes you so certain he can't be a traitor? Tatano just isn't like that. That's not an answer, Stanley scoffed. All right, I've watched the man work for years. I know him. He has no reason to betray the Force. You watched him work, huh? What about his private life, then? You know all about that, too? He hasn't had money trouble or anything like that? Kano felt his blood starting to boil. I don't care what you think, he said. I trust Detective Tatano. Trust him? On what basis? I don't need any basis to have faith in someone, Kano snapped. Without any basis in fact, it's just plain sentimentality, Stanley said. There's no reason or logic to it. A thin smile came to his face. That is some stubble. Ha ha! Be they friend or family, you can never really know other people. The only person you can trust is yourself. Kano had no response for such an emotionless statement. He looked away. He and Stanley were just plain incompatible. It seemed like no amount of talking would let them get through to one another. Never take anything at face value, Kano. You start trusting too much, You're basically as good as dead. Kano just stared out the window. The Shibuya precinct came into view. Tanaka's condo wasn't much further now. They were outside of Tanaka's condo now. Over there, Stanley said, keeping his voice down. Across the street. This is a terrible date, yes. They're on a terrible date. It's a disaster. Across the street was one of the foreign syndicate members, walking briskly, the attaché case clutched at his side. Was it Hagrid? I'm making the arrest. Kano, wait! Stanley exclaimed. Kano heard him loud and clear, but he had no intention of stopping. He approached with the criminal at full speed, then leapt to tackle him around the waist. The two men fell to the pavement in a tangled heap, the collision sent the attaché case flying. Kano's eyes tracked the case for a moment too long. He was caught off guard when the man threw a punch at him. The blow caught him right in the jaw, snapping his head back. For a moment, Kano saw stars. As he shook off the impact, the man sprang to his feet and sprinted away in the direction of Stanley's car. Stanley! Kano shouted. Grab him or get the case? Get the case. Get the case! Stanley headed for the attaché case while Kano went after the suspect. Suddenly, the fleeing man skidded to a stop. Several cars had pulled across the road ahead and detectives were pouring out of them. His escape route cut off, the criminal resigned himself to capture. While Kano helped make the arrest, several of the other detectives broke into Tanaka's condo. Stanley, meanwhile, was carefully inspecting the exterior of the attaché case. He'd already opened it. It was stuffed with bundles of banknotes. The 50 million yen ransom was back in police hands. This is a decoy, the American muttered under his breath. Wonder where... His words trailed off, but Kano had heard them. What did you expect? The detective demanded. Samples of that new drug in there? As usual, Stanley gave no reply. The look on his face, however, told Kano he'd been right on the mark. Some of the backup team emerged from Tanaka's condo. Kano turned to them, feeling a sudden surge of anxiety for Maria. What's the situation in there? He asked. They told him that they'd found no one in Tanaka's rooms, so the hostage's status remained unknown, and the main culprit had evaded capture. So the hostage's status remained unknown? Okay. This case hadn't been solved, in fact. It was still unfolding in the worst way conceivable. And still, Stanley remained focused on the attaché case, pondering it with a thoughtful expression. Look, Kano told him, I'm going to request that I be returned to my normal duties. Maria still needs to be rescued, and I still need to find out what happened to Hitomi and Detective Tantano. For once, Stanley actually responded. Hitomi? Yes, that's it. It makes perfect sense that they'd have her carry it. Huh? What do you mean? This whole attaché case relay was a fake-out. Whoa, slow down, Kano said, wishing he could calm himself with his words. Explain what you're talking about. Somehow, the kidnappers made contact with Kenji Osawa and got him to have Hitomi carry the drug, separate from the ransom. Wait, you're saying they had Hitomi bring them the drug? Stanley nodded. The case handoffs were sort of camouflage. A way for them to keep the police distracted from their real goal. Kano nodded. It had indeed felt like the case relay was a decoy, an attempt to buy time. If this syndicate were after something else entirely, that would explain why so many of their actions had appeared to make no sense. So, Kano asked, what sort of drug is this? Why would they go to such lengths to get their hands on it? It's an antiviral, Stanley responded after some hesitation. A way to cure people infected with a very particular virus. What viruses are we talking about? It's called UA. Oh! The plots, they are connecting. Kano never heard of it. Still, he could imagine the possibilities. Suppose this Ua was something like the Ebola virus. The Ebola virus. Discovered in Sudan in 1976, infection causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever, resulting in a high fever and massive bleeding throughout the body. At present, there is no vaccine to prevent infection, nor any drug to cure the disease after it manifests. That was in 2008. Or perhaps HIV. Human immunodeficiency virus. HIV destroys the cells that are essential for regulating cell-mediated immunity. Oof. Considerably reducing immune response. This effect can result in infections that would ordinarily be fought off easily, developing into serious illnesses. There are various treatments, but as of yet, nothing that will eradicate the virus completely. Even the all-too-familiar influenza. Influenza, an infectious disease caused by the influenza virus. Symptoms are similar to that of the common cold, but are much more severe, occasionally resulting in death. There are 3 main types of the virus, A, B, and C, with A and B causing the typical run of the illness in humans. Neuraminidase is recommended as an effective inhibitor, but this merely alleviates the symptoms and is not a complete cure. And, no other viruses. None. Yep. There were medicines that could treat all of these diseases, but nothing that could cure them completely. Any drug that could do that would be worth vast sums of money. Kano, do you have any means of getting in touch with Mr. Osawa? Yes, I know one of the detectives stationed at his home. Check in with him ASAP. Find out whether or not he gave the antiviral to Hitomi. Kano suppressed a scowl. It looked like he wasn't done assisting Stanley yet. He got out his cell phone and dialed up Kajiwara. Okay, we gotta make a decision here. Kajiwara picked up promptly. Kano, what's going on? Could I speak with Mr. Osawa? I suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? There's something I need him to confirm for me. It's an emergency. Alright, just make sure not to tell him anything about the investigation. Sure thing. After a while, a man's hoarse voice came over the line. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. Kano took a deep breath. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitomi? Osawa let out a gasp. Keep out! Ooh. Interesting. So we're bad-ended, we're kept out, and then there's a... Oh, we fixed Maria's storyline. Okay, cool. I am gonna call it a little early tonight, because I have to get up fairly early in the morning. So, we will continue this next Saturday, and we're gonna get on with Maria's storyline. Though I think Osawa is bad-ended, never mind. So yeah, we're gonna keep going to see if we can fix the fate of Osawa and several others. Alright. See you guys next Saturday. Thanks for coming out. And bye.